Hello again, this is Cliff McWilliams coming to you from Corporatist Nation because that's all we got. I'm here to talk today about the likely choice of one Elizabeth Warren to be Joe Biden's running mate, and shortly thereafter will probably take the reins as Joe is pulled from the race for his obvious failings. And of course, Joe himself is something of a fibber of renown over his past 40 years as a public official. Notwithstanding Liz Warren, who herself is a prevaricator of unprecedented proportion, never to be called out on this by the Central Politburo, what is known as the mainstream media here in the United States. So, first off, we have to all recall her fibbing about her Native American heritage, which she went so far as to try and have a DNA test, which proved faulty in proving her contention. But, of course, going back, she used her contention to be admitted as a, quote, minority student at Harvard, and then was touted again as a professor that she was Native American, which, of course, the DNA test made this laughable at this point. Also, on the women's side of things, she said she lost her job as a teacher in the early 70s because she was visibly pregnant, which has been disproven roundly. She is not someone who is known to tell the truth about any of her own failings, but she will embellish and fib to quite a great degree. She changes lanes quite readily, so she's not one to be dependent upon no matter what she says, that what she says is what she's going to do. This in light of the fact that we're looking at a very frail, feeble, demented Joe Biden. And so I'm certain, as I have stated in previous videos, that whoever is the VP nominee will shortly take over for Joe Biden as soon as that pick is announced. Now, she's quite the AIPAC fan, big fan of right-wing policy a la Netanyahu. That's something to be taken into consideration. Are we ever going to solve this issue over there? Not when we support people like Netanyahu, and she's a big supporter. Doesn't have any problem with the settlement issue. Palestinians, talks out of both sides of her mouth on that. She voted for the Trump military budget twice. You gotta like that. Advocates for green bombs. She cited Madeline Albright as her foreign policy advisor. If you know anything about the Carlyle group, that's she's a principal in the Carlyle group. That is Madeline Albright. She's willing to accept big donor contributions were she to be the nominee, which of course she's not at this point, but if she's assigned the VP slot, shortly thereafter she will become the nominee, a la the DNC, Tom Perez. She already has a history of accepting big bucks from multi-billionaires, CEOs, executives of... voted for the Hyde Amendment, ladies. She voted for the Hyde Amendment, which restricts federal dollars from being used for abortion services. voted against GMO labeling, 9/17/2013. Of course, she has waffled roundly on Medicare for all, so she is a corporate person of the first order, as is her daughter, Amelia Warren Tyagi, who co-founded Health Allies, a venture capital-backed health benefits firm, which was later acquired by United Health Group, second largest health insurer in the United States. Now, there was quite a bit of talk about the endorsement early on of Working Families Party for Elizabeth Warren on this go-round in 2020. Working Families Party did endorse Bernie Sanders back in 2016, so this was a big coup. But how did that coup come about? Well, it seems that Amelia Warren Tyagi, the daughter of Elizabeth Warren and chairwoman of Demos, a liberal think tank, per the Demos 2018 tax filing, they gave $45,000 to Working Families Party, that is Demos, Elizabeth Warren Tyagi's think tank firm. And, of course, the endorsement of Liz Warren followed thereafter. So what do you think about that? The way that vote went, leadership of Working Families Party was weighted as 50% of the vote on who they were going to endorse, and then the membership got the other 50%. But of course, that weighting of the leadership of 50%, that turned the tide in favor of one Lion Liz Warren. So, Liz Warren, is she a progressive? No. She is purely faux. All right. Of course, they had to cover that up, so Warren's daughter's name was removed from the Demos website following the WFP endorsement. She's listed as the board chair in their tax filings, however, so but that was also scrubbed from the Board of Trustees page later on. So, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who can't be trusted, who is no more progressive than I'd say perhaps George W. Bush might be even more progressive than Liz Warren and her family members, a.k.a. Amelia Warren Tyagi. Going beyond that, she is the double talker extraordinaire. She pushed a proposal to impose restrictions on sex workers' bank accounts. Wow, that's taking it to the nth degree. And she did not sign on to legislation to cap credit card interest rates at 15%. How do you like those 30% interest rates on your credit cards, folks? She has not signed on to legislation to reinstate the estate tax. Who is Liz a friend of? Working people? Working Families Party? Not. Federal estate tax, of course, was enacted in 1916, under President Woodrow Wilson. Applied to families with more than $50,000 or more than $1 million in today's dollars. So Sanders' plan would have reversed decades-long declines in estate taxes. It would levy a 45% estate tax on those with $3.5 million to $10 million in an estate valuation, a 50% tax on those with $10 million to $50 million valuation, a 55% tax on those with $50 million to $1 billion, and a 77% tax on those with estates valued at more than $1 billion. So that's quite a difference when you see Liz is not even close on that presently. A couple can pass on $20 million tax-free. But Liz Warren, she's going to do this millionaire's tax, 2% annual tax on those with more than $50 million. Peanuts. That is a joke. Those people, in order to take some steam out of the kettle, that have that kind of wealth, they live for that 2% tax all day long. That's a joke. You know, Bernie Sanders wasn't taking away anybody's yachts or spots in Malibu. This is Liz Warren. Liz Warren is a friend of the rich and famous, Wall Street, 100%. They just live for Liz Warren, and that's what we're looking like we're going to get here, at least as a candidate. I, for one, am not going to vote for Joe Biden because he is an illicit candidate with all the election fraud that went on, and of course the central media, you know, the Politburo run media that we have with CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, NPR, National Propaganda Radio, and all their pundits. David Axelrod, David Chalian, Gloria Borger, Anderson Cooper, Chris Hayes, Joanne Reed. These people are the megaphones of the fascist state. So this is where we're at. So I am encouraging people, if they see Liz Warren's name at the VP slot, forget it. I mean, I'm not going to vote. I'm voting green. I'm going to say that right now. I think we need to consolidate our disenfranchised power behind one candidate. And number one, right now, this is April 17th, I think it is today. Yeah. There's a petition on whitehouse.gov that was put up there by Tim Canova. And this is calling for hand counting of paper ballots. Having contested an election myself back in 2006, after we found a 14% flip of votes from yours truly to my opponent, Virginia Brown Waite, and we had a big hearing up in Tallahassee. And then a democratically run House Administration Committee didn't think that affidavits were, a decent proof of consideration. We of course, were unsuccessful. The only way to ensure that our ballots are counted as they were cast is for our ballots to be counted by us in public, no machines, no software. That's it. Case closed. So anyways, that's my tack on Liz Warren, and she's as slippery and crooked as they come. Just because she wears a skirt, that means nothing. And I'm all for a woman president, but I'm not for Liz Warren. I'm not for Hillary Clinton, obviously, and the rest of the crew there. Marianne Williamson, Nina Turner, I'd be all in on that. I hope they go green. All right, those are the kind of people that we want to be in charge. Not people who are bought and paid for. We have only one thing we can do to change the direction of this country, possibly, and that's to ensure that the votes are counted by us. Alrighty? Thanks for watching. Again, Cliff McWilliams here with Corporatist Nation, because that's all we got. See you later.